Can somebody explain to me why there's even one person in the background right now chanting Phil, 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 Phil? Let's go. Let's go.
Your Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, the number one daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I'm your host, Robyn Leonio, alongside Matthew Jacobson. We want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We are free and available everywhere you get your podcast, including on YouTube and the SiriusXM radio app. Phil Kessel, Matt, has been the talks of the last couple of weeks in this point in the off season, as he still tries to find a new home, and it seems like he definitely still wants to play. He says he's willing to take, to risk his Ironman streak to play. But
Yeah,
we're saying here it doesn't work in Arizona. It's not going to work in Arizona. It's just not going to happen.
Can I, if I may, all right, if I may, why the HE double heck does anyone connect Arizona with this? All right. The bridge with me personally, with Phil Kessel, burned whenever that man was blubbering in his car after he signed with Vegas and was like, well, they said we were going to win here. We didn't win. And as someone who started covering the team for my channel in 2018 for the 18-19 season, who got to watch him very closely, he did nothing to help. Straight up, I have his stats pulled up. He had a very solid goal-scoring season in 2020, 2021. The shortened season, 56 games, 43 points. 20 of those were goals. That was his best goal-scoring season. He had more assists in his last year here, but the goal-scoring was gone to the point where we couldn't even trade him. There was no value for him to be traded because the goal-scoring was so far gone. And seeing, especially in I think 18-19 was the year where he at points him and Derek Stepan were playing on the fourth line because they were both too injured to play. But this man Kessel, and this is what soured my opinion on him, cared more about his Ironman streak than the team and wouldn't just take the night off. All right, dude got married. They put him out for a shift and then took him right off the ice so he can go keep his Ironman streak. The dude isn't a real Ironman. All right, like, I despise this dude. He could be a great player on the ice earlier in his career. He could be a great man off the ice. Don't care. I despise him. He didn't help us win. He did nothing for the team. All right. He had one good goal scoring season and then a season where he had 44 assists when he was a liability. Obviously, two-way game doesn't exist, but he's a liability not scoring goals. And the 44 assists mean nothing to me when the only thing you have value for should have been a trade, and we couldn't even do that. No. If you are a Coyotes fan and you even are thinking about this, no, hang up the jersey or go out back and burn it. All right, I'd rather you go out back and burn your jersey if you're saying Phil Kessel should come back. Like this, the culture's good now. I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to go back.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And plus, here's a couple other things too that we have to keep in mind. Phil Kessel came in originally to the Coyotes under the Rick Tocchet era because he had a good relationship with Rick Tocchet. Because I think with
the Kessel,
yeah. Because I think that some of the history in Pittsburgh and a lot of other shit, stuff like that. But just it made sense then, and at the time, yeah, sure, he was promised a winning team at the time. What we're talking about, a team that had him, that had Alex Galchenyuk, who was actually pretty good back then. Decent.
Connor Garland,
Connor Garland.
Peyton was getting ready to come up. Kells, obviously,
They traded for Taylor Hall, who was supposed to really make the push. It didn't end up working for the Coyotes, but it was supposed to make the push.
Yep.
So like that Coyotes team was actually supposed to be like the playoff team we were expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it didn't happen. The team blew up. What was he going to expect? He was told that going in first rebuild year.
I don't know. My issues go back further. My issues go back to him putting the Iron Man streak over the team. My issues go back to it's equal parts. When an injured player plays, there are two individuals that need to bear responsibility, and I think equal percentage. The head coach, because they have final say of who is playing, and the player who is insisting that they're good enough to play. The medical staff gives their opinion, but the head coach makes that final call, and the player can still choose to play or not.
Right.
So, like, when this dude can't even skate and he's on the fourth line just so he can keep the Iron Man streak, and this team's pretending to go for like a playoff run at the end of the year, and all it did was just make things worse. Like, it boils my blood. And then like that 20-goal season where they end up going to the playoffs and they lose, 4-1 to Colorado. It kind of ends up meaning nothing. That yes, he had more assists the next season than he had points in that shortened season. That shortened season was a very good season for him. And the season after, points wise was very good. His points went up every single year in Arizona. But how disappointing that first year here was, how the shortened season, nothing really happened. And then how the rebuild year, the dude didn't even have value to be traded, and clearly like wasn't gonna help in the future. And then instead of keeping his mouth shut, he starts blubbering in his car. Like, I'm like, dude, if he would have just shut his mouth and moved on, I don't care. But like, when you start running your mouth, and I know as someone who watched this dude play for 3 years, you weren't helping the team win. It kind of boils me. That 20-goal year, yes, not taking nothing away from that, but it boils me. Like, for a lack of a better term, kind of just triggers me, and I'm like, no, go away.
Well, we're going to keep talking about Phil Kessel and his free agency, and why a reunion with the Arizona Coyotes just doesn't make sense. We'll get to all that in just a moment, but first, a quick word from our sponsors on today's show. And today's episode is brought to you by AG1, the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health that I drink literally every day. I gave AG1 a try because I was sick and tired of having to take so many different pills and supplements just to get all the nutrition I need for the day. And anything, and really just not just pills and supplements, just like other things I had to keep track of. It was hard. Sometimes I forget, and I would get thrown out of balance. AG1 helped fix all that, as it really took care of my morning routine. And all I needed was a cup of this and a scoop of this in a cup of water every day, and that was it. And it had all the nutrition that I really needed for that day, and then some. And the best thing is, it tastes delicious. It's got a little bit of like a citrusy taste to it, and it's cheaper when you cold brew have it. So I got a chance to really, wean off of coffee to go to AG1, and it really, really helped my overall health. The comprehensive solution to what you need for your supplement routine. Then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NHL Network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL Network. So be sure to check it out. All right, Matt, let's keep going here, because like luckily not a lot of people are even pointing towards a reunion with Arizona, because everyone is, let's be real, most outside Coyotes fans are outside hockey fans just don't even want to give the Coyotes any credit, because they're just like, it's like, oh, no one wants to go to Arizona. Like, we already know Phil Kessel doesn't want to be here.
Can I offer a correction? Just a correction and clarification. I do try to do fact checking and whatnot, especially while
All right.
Robin is reading the ads. 2019-2020 that first year. Then that was the year they made the playoffs. No, in the shortened season 2020-2021, where he scored 20 goals, they still ended up missing the playoffs, having a losing season. And the first year of the rebuild, even though he had the same amount of assists, more assists than he had points this previous season, he still didn't have enough value to get traded. So like his best literal production was when the team was Garbo. And when they actually needed him, he just didn't really step up. And like in the playoffs, 9 games, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. And I want to look at the game logs real quick, just because I feel like that'll be helpful. Where? Because I think it was all against Nashville. I legit think his production was all against Nashville.
Right. Oh, yeah. Phil Kessel would for some reason have his best games against Nashville. Now you're mentioning
no points against Colorado. Literally no points. Like when this dude, when the Coyotes needed him to produce, nothing. Like it boils my damn blood. The dude doesn't help you win unless you're in Pittsburgh, where you have 2 franchise players smushed together in the top 6.
he was a part of that 2016 team that had. He was part of that line, I think, that had it was Hagelin, Bonino, and Kessel. Like that was a good line.
Bonino.
Oh God,
that's great. I love that.
Yes. But that line was pretty lethal throughout that playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked for them. And and again, yes, it was a team that also had, Sidney Crosby and other franchise players. He was just on a good team.
And he was good on that good team.
Yes.
I want to clarify, he was good on that good team.
100%.
I am just annoyed that he had a very, very mediocre first start. So it was in 2019-2020. So I can correct myself and be accurate, and also be like, hey, I do make mistakes when it comes to just misremembering a year. 2019-2020. There is plenty of again, times where he was on the 4th line hobbling around because he wasn't healthy enough to play, but he wanted to make sure he got that Iron Man streak. So it boils my blood. And then the shortened season where they missed the playoffs, then he wants to pull a 20-goal season out. And then instead of being able to move him, they couldn't. And then he doesn't even keep the goal scoring. And then I think immediately goes back to Vegas. I should have kept his numbers up, because I'm pretty sure as soon as he went back to Vegas, his goal scoring came right back.
It nearly doubled. It went
the
from
Garbo.
8 goals in 21-22 to 14 goals in 22-23.
But his production went so far down, and he only played 4 games in the playoffs. 4 games in the playoffs, had 2 assists for Vegas, and I think it was early on in the playoffs. I think it was the first round against was it Winnipeg? Yep, it was against Winnipeg. 4 games against Winnipeg. He had 2 assists in one of those games on April 20th at home, and that was it. He does get injured and doesn't play the rest, but he does dress to lift the Stanley Cup because he did so much work on that team. Good job, Phil. Like I said, I don't know him off the ice. I'm not attacking him as a person. I'm attacking him as you annoyed the hell out of me and boiled my blood as a Coyotes fan, and I don't want you anywhere near this franchise. And if you think they should re-sign Kessel, I don't think I want you anywhere around my franchise right now. Just to be blunt.
Let's even that aside, let's take a look at a couple other things too.
Mm-hmm.
The Coyotes team is only, it's only getting younger, right? They're focusing on the youth and the future. Why would they worry themselves? Especially, sure, you need a couple veterans in there. They already signed their veteran guys. Why would you sign another guy who would have to get a 35+ contract?
And also, it's not like Kessel's on a bad contract. If Kessel signed a 2-year contract and let's say had $5 million left this season, and Vegas wanted to throw in an asset to take him, because Bill, while they're not actively shopping for those contracts, the temperature around this is, yeah, as long as the contract doesn't go past like 2026, if you give us assets, we'll take it. So if he had the 1 year left and you're getting, does Vegas have any good young players? Let's say you get a 3rd round pick. Just you get something for it. Okay, because you could keep him benched or you could have him play on your 4th line or something. Or let's say Zucker falls through and Kessel had 1 more year and you can get a cap dump for that. Sure. But as a free agent, he offers you nothing. And Zucker literally is like a better option for a similar kind of sniping role. And I think he's 5 years younger, 3 or 4 years younger. Because Zucker's what, 31?
Thinks, yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. The only context it would have is if he was on a bad contract. He's not. He's a free agent. Why would you do it? He doesn't add anything to this team, and I guarantee the feeling has to be mutual. It just that's the temperature on it. Just a couple brief, kind of conversations in passing. That's what the temperature feels like. So it wouldn't even make sense from a relationship standpoint. So I don't know why. And I did see a couple of people
from an organizational standpoint, from just an overall, just like structural standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
In no way, shape, or form does a reunion make sense. No matter how way anyone wants to try to spin it, it will never make sense for Phil Kessel to come back to Arizona.
Yeah,
you just can't. I can't even think of any possible reason why someone would even want to.
I can think of one. I can justify it. Do you want to hear how outlandish it has to be? All right. Jason Zucker snaps his freaking leg. 13 other players in the organization either come down with serious illnesses or broken bones or major injuries that keep them out the rest of the season, and it's November. And then it's like, okay, we can sign Phil Kessel for the year. That's what it's gonna take. All right, it's gonna take something stupid. And no, just no, no, no.
It just not. Yeah, it's just not worth it. It really isn't.
But someone's gonna justify it. And that's what bothers me more. Like that almost bothers me more than Kessel's comments. Is that it was only like a handful of people, like a couple. It wasn't a lot. And I don't know them to be like the memester type, like the pot stirrers like myself. But it's like unless it's like a deep like psyop or something where they're just trying to get at me. And I don't think I'm that important.
I mean, like, there's the bit in me that's always joked, like, especially while Phil Kessel was a Coyote, was just joking about, the hot dog bit. That's about it.
Hot dogs.
That's the only thing that I enjoyed by, like, I just kept making jokes about the hot dog
bit. Robyn, do you want to go get hot dogs? I want hot dogs now. That's the only thing. My hot dog consumption went up like 300%.
We're gonna go get hot dogs and we're gonna go put ketchup on them just to annoy Craig Morgan.
He never responded back to me on Twitter, by the way. I think he was so disgusted with my arena,
just so
my arena meal.
No, but for real though, I'll probably end up getting a Sonoran hot dog if that's the route.
Why is Portillo so expensive? Like they're pretty good hot dogs. I went all the way to Tempe for one before we got one in the West Valley. But like, why are they so pricey? Why is it so expensive?
I don't get the hot dogs from them. I get the beef sandwiches, cake milkshake.
You're making me hungry. What did I have for dinner? I had pizza for dinner.
It is a unique talent of mine to make people hungry.
Like my wife just went to sleep too, so I can't ask her to cook for me. I gotta figure it out on my own. We are so far. See, the most productive part of the conversation was the food.
Show.
You guys don't see it. When we're done recording for like 20 minutes, we will just shoot the breeze about just like this is it. Like I'll be like playing Adventure Capitalist or like whatever else, and like we'll be finishing up notes or whatever. We're just shooting the breeze. Like you're getting a behind the scenes look because why the hell would you suggest Phil Kessel? All right, this is the quality of content you deserve. If you suggested we bring back Phil Kessel, shame. The only thing Phil Kessel is good for, where is it? I gotta grab like 5 jerseys over here. Is cheap jerseys. All right, I got like 4 of these because they were like $50 each. That's all Phil Kessel's good for from Coyotes fans. And deal with that later. That's it.
You deal with that later.
That's it. Done.
But yeah, no, we're absolutely right. There's really no other reason. It makes sense. There's no like you can have to go through all those extra twists and turns, but logically it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, unless like they didn't sign any of the veterans, unless like Zucker laughed him out of the room and even Kerfoot wouldn't sign or something. Like, okay, we just need a veteran. Phil.
I mean, it is a good thing that like most of the majority of forwards are signed past this next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's just 4 forwards that aren't.
Yeah, they do have the flexibility, but like they do have the ability to be like, yeah, this is kind of going to be the forward core for the next couple of years, and then as we get closer to the playoffs, we'll kind of adjust from there. And I like that because they can just the destiny's in their own hands.
Right. But to kind of go back to what we were talking about earlier, though, you know, with the roster already set and with the with the contracts being pretty safe for what they are at, as you mentioned, we're going to talk maybe take a look later as it gets towards the trade deadline and a lot of other things. But I'm going to go back to this one more time and just talking about we're enjoying the fact that the Coyotes roster is filled with players who want to be here. There's a reason why Nick Bjugstad re-signed with the Coyotes after getting traded away. There's a reason why Alex Kerfoot and Jason Zucker and Matt Dumba all signed as free agents because they wanted to come here. There's a reason why Clayton Keller convinced Logan Cooley to sign his ELC here.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone wants to be here.
It's the place to be. It is the place to be. At least I think so, but I don't know. I get
I mean, look. To those that don't live in Arizona, that are watching this show right now, that are making fun of the hockey in Arizona. You guys enjoy your dead cold winters where you can barely even go outside and have to salt your sidewalks or do whatever you need to do to even survive in the frozen tundra. While over here, during that same time, we can walk to the ice rink in shorts and flip-flops, play some hockey, and then come out wearing the same clothes, shorts and flip-flops, because the weather is so nice. Go to the pool right after, get a margarita. Like, why? Like, how does that not enticing to people, right? Because that's the weather here is amazing, except for last month and the previous month. The summer is unbearable here.
But look, I actually get a weird like enjoyment of it's like in the summertime getting into my car after work and it's just hot. I prefer being hot. I don't know. Maybe the hot weather boiled my brains as well, but like I enjoy that. Who wouldn't want to sit in their car And after like 5 minutes, like if I don't roll the windows down, I'm gonna die. Then you roll the windows.
We have
up,
Connor
die.
Geeky, who apparently, like, whenever he comes for prospect camp and it's like 115, he's like, "Yeah, I love this." You're like,
it's like it's better than Winnipeg, eh?
you're like, wow.
I always knew I loved that boy.
I mean, and again, I guess hockey players just love the warmer weather. I mean, it is nice. It is nice.
I mean, if you're used to the extreme cold, like I'm used to the extreme heat and I like the heat, but I would be lying if I said that going into a cool air conditioned building when it's 110 outside isn't satisfying. So maybe it's a thing where if you're so used to one thing, you just grow to appreciate the other.
I guess so. Yeah, no, yeah. But like I said, the enticing bit of playing hockey and then leaving playing hockey wearing summer clothes. Like that was me like what? Not even a couple weeks ago, right? I was playing like a scrimmage in hockey. And then I had another event later in the day, so like after playing, just put on a sundress and I was out. And it was nice. It was nice outside.
I mean, yeah. Going out like shorts and a t-shirt or like my summer Coyotes jersey here, where I cut the sleeves off and let the boys breathe. And we're just out here chilling.
It sure is something. But the point I was getting at is, just the fact that players want to be here, and why would we want to change that up from a player that from what our understanding kind of didn't, left Arizona with a little bit of a sour taste.
If you finally mutually like break up with someone that let you know every day how much they hated being with you, if you want them back like a year and a half or two later, isn't that called like Stockholm syndrome or something? Isn't that like an actual thing that you shouldn't do?
There's a term for it. I'm not sure if it's that, but I know what you mean. Yes.
Just saying no. Y'all wasted my time tonight. I'm gonna go back to playing Digimon or something. Y'all ain't worth my time. Robyn, take the outro away.
Well, that's gonna be it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube and the SiriusXM radio app. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, and on Twitter, now called X, at LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robyn_Leonio. Matthew Jacobson is at the AZ Sports Guy. Interact with us, ask the question that you might have, we might answer right back, or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys staying safe out there. Hope you guys staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.